I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not.
That's right. And
there.
if you're gonna cry about
Go ahead.
listening to this, man, we could be fucking selling you ass pills. I don't know, like and we're not. You think you're welcome.
That's so true. Yeah, we haven't talked about like world events or anything in a good long while.
Oh man, you want to?
Why,
I guess
what's
that
going on?
world events do fit in with this book, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, they absolutely do. And honestly, that didn't even occur to me. How sad. I was just every once in a while we go on record, the Extinction Agenda record, where things stand about the world. So look back and really, really like look at ourselves in the mirror. And I thought maybe obviously the Ukraine thing's going on. That's still a thing.
Yeah.
Been going on for a little while. Don't see that ending anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else?
I don't know. Like,
how about that?
Like, we don't stand with those. Like, Vladdy and the slimy Ruskies are mad dogs, and they're fucking up the grocery prices and killing innocent people. That's pretty much it. And they're
Getting their ass kicked on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's true, man. And I mean, like, to threaten, like, you know what I mean? Like, this little Ukrainian dude and his band of fucking misfits is keeping these guys at bay pretty easily. Okay, not easily. It's obviously awful. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, like, buddy, like, I mean, don't go waving your dick around at NATO. I don't think you want that smoke, man. You can't even keep these guys off you. Fucking moron.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all they got. Like it's just like we still have nukes. We got
nukes. Hey, watch it. We got nukes. Our demoralized guys are getting their asses kicked every day, but we have nukes.
I think that's the part of the conversation that I find myself like I'm just trying to obviously nuclear weaponry is nothing to really joke about or and you want to be concerned about it, but there's so many articles about like, is Putin finally backed into a corner? Like everybody psychologizes this guy to such an extent in the same way that they do with racist grandpa. And then, it's this notion that it will ultimately be his decision because he's crazy. He's just fucking crazy. And it's all about power, like power for himself in this instance. And neither of these viewpoints, like I hate racist grandpa with a burning passion and disrespect everything about him, but I believe that there's a patriotism involved in his fucking madness, and similarly with Vladimir, Mr. Putin. I just don't. He just wants to fucking crack some heads and expand the empire, and we're not really facing Armageddon. Like we've been in this situation so many times, so we just kind of forget.
Yeah, it's true, but it's one of those things. Like, he's not gonna. I don't know. He doesn't want his country wiped off the fucking map and turn into like little critters crawling around scrapping for little leaves, because that's what's gonna happen if he launches a nuke.
I think his rhetoric is very like, if you understand that he's a Kremlin guy, like a ex-KGB guy who loves disinformation, like throwing out like, hey, like we're arming up, like every so often is just another way of it's like trolling, it's like putting more pressure on.
And their
media,
propaganda machine is like almost ridiculous. It's like, look over there, they're the bad guys. Wait, what? You're just confusing us by being idiots. Like and I guess that's the motive, but it's at this point, like, disinformation's become so like idiotic. It's just annoying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like the gambit to like, we're annexing these 4 areas of Ukraine. We had a democratic vote, like people are all for it. And now we're enacting our doctrine where we'll defend our territory with nuclear weaponry. Like, and then within the span of a week, like it feels like Ukraine took back like a lot of that territory, and like nothing's happened. It was all just, it's all just saber rattling.
Yeah, the real audience is the Russian people.
Right. Yeah,
Is just what strikes me as what's ultimately motivating this. Like
that makes sense.
everybody wants the empire back. Like that's why this is like there's protesters and whatever and fine, but there's also a lot of acquiescence and
There's no
desire.
empire left. There, like any chance you had at rebuilding the empire went circling down the toilet bowl with your dollar when the entire free world sanctioned you into fucking oblivion.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Did
Like
they
grow
though?
some
Like,
fucking wheat in that stolen territory from Ukraine, bro, because that's all you're gonna fucking have.
yeah, I think we grossly exaggerate. Like Iran has maintained itself through sanctions for a long time and successfully so.
Yeah, maybe so. Iran also
And
built some cool kamikaze drones for the Russians to blow up apartment buildings where civilians live in the Ukraine. But I'm sure
there we
that's
go.
propaganda as well. That's just left-wing media feeding me trite. I don't know.
I actually don't know anything about that.
Oh no, that's true.
I,
Yeah, they have this. Yeah, they do.
no, I
have
believe it's
drones.
true. I believe it's true.
Yeah.
I'd like. I mean, yeah.
Oh, you believe
I-
CBC? Pff, sheep.
Yeah.
You...
Got to get your news from YouTube.
I gotta
Yeah.
with my internet here. If I cut out for a second, sorry. I'm actually. I got a Wi-Fi. We're good. Oh,
Yeah.
We're good.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
I
hear
think
you.
you're good. You're kind of just talking to yourself, but that's okay too.
I cut out for a second. Yeah. Sorry about that. I got a Wi-Fi extender out here to the battle shed, and it's fucking.
Hey, that's a
Yeah.
Cadillac move you got right there.
Yeah. And actually, I was surprised it was working, but I can't trust it yet. I think I'll have to like. I don't know how I'll test that out, but I just don't want to like fuck up the recording, because everybody's counting on me.
Yeah.
I got the world on my shoulders.
That's
Oh,
okay. We'll let you know if
wow.
it's a lost episode.
Yeah.
No, not that again.
We can't have another one. No. Anyway, the Ukraine. Sorry for the interruption. I'll try to put that over. So it's I don't know. My sense though is that while the Ukrainians are putting up a valiant fight and the world, it's a proxy war, and it's going to drag on as a proxy war until such time as the Russians pull out. But we can read the history books. It's not going to happen for a long time.
Yeah,
no.
Under extraordinary.
Well, we can maybe Vladdy will drink a fucking poisoned coffee at some point or another, and then whoever succeeds him will take their head out of their fucking ass. But I don't know about that either.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. And again, how would I know? But I don't know if any of the eggheads have a sense of who would take over.
Yeah,
afterwards.
I don't personally support poisoners either, just for the Extinction Agenda record.
Well, I do. Yeah, man. Fucking poison's to take care of your some guy, their tongue like
No. That's an
No.
old school. That's an old Japanese women's trick.
Jeez. Oh boy.
No.
Speaking
no.
of Japanese
Oh, no.
women's trick.
Yeah, She-Hulk
so-
all over again.
Oh, jeez. So, welcome to the Extinction Agenda, everybody. Today we have a special treat. We're going to the Tom King well, and we're going to like deep within the well, back to the Sheriff of Babylon, with Mitch Gerads. 12 issues, ran from February 2016 to January 2017, Vertigo Comics. And I gave this one a pass when it came out. Chris, you've been a big supporter. I can see why. I didn't care for the beginning, but once it got cooking, this was prime stuff. I liked it a lot, but I'm kind of a Tom King head at this point. So
Good stuff. Yeah, you went on a rampage. You read everything.
yeah, man. Yeah, and this feels a lot more like I'm in. Although Vision was great. We had a great time on that, James.
Vision, yeah, I like Vision.
Yeah. And that's at roughly the same period as this. And then like his Batman run, I'd say like up until issue 50, really had a lot of heart, really fantastic. I really loved it. Mr. Miracle, also with Mitch Gerads. I think that has some really strong bits, but it was also sort of meandering. Anyway, Heroes in Crisis, blah blah blah. He worked with Gerard in Strange Adventures and also Batman One Bad Day Riddler. I think Tom King's gotten stronger and stronger since 2019, and
That's
to the point that he's one of my favorite writers now, hands down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
because
you better settle down.
Oh,
I had
man.
read this,
Yeah.
and I felt that he was so fully formed when he first arrives, based on the strength, this being based on his time in Iraq. And I think this is fantastic. And then I felt like diminishing returns after that point. And I had read, I was all fired up to read Vision. I like Vision, that was good. And then Tom King, the Batman run was like hit or miss sometimes. But I just felt like, I felt like I didn't want to keep going back to that well and just be disappointed. But you saying that he's kind of picked it up, I'm interested.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's really picked it up. I mean, it's so what I was sorry, my train of thought on this was like Sheriff of Babylon. The second half felt a lot more like late period, and to say late period for a guy who's our age, right? Is kind of insulting, but like for modern, up to date, whatever he's been doing lately, like it's just a bunch of successes. And in the way that Sheriff of Babylon, particularly the last 3/4 of it, is a roaring success. And I mean, obviously I'm being biased here, but except for Batman One Bad Day Riddler, fuck that book. I already complained about that book. Don't buy that book, everybody. It's got fantastic art by Mitch. Avoid.
Pretty sure I have that.
Oh, if you do, then we got to. I would love to. If you do have it, then let's fucking check it out. I don't think you do though, because it just came out.
Oh, maybe I don't.
It's one of those it's one of those Vertigo Black Label magazine size books. So I think it was magazine sized. I think that's why I picked it up. If it's not, excuse me, audience. I've read a lot of Tom King. So James, what did you think of this thing?
I honestly don't know if I have it up as high as you guys. I think the art is phenomenal. I think the art carried it. I think it has a tone. I think it has amazing coloring. And then I also think in terms of expression, but he also I just like body movement. I can, the sheriff's buddy, the old Iranian cop. Yeah, Nasir. Yeah. His movement is so nice. He is exhausted. He is digested. He's smoking cigarettes. He's fucking tired. I can almost smell him, the cigarette smoke and the old cop exhaustion from him. He just looks so good in his mood and tone. He's wiping sweat off his face when he's covered in blood and he's got a Glock hanging down. The art's just great. And I honestly, if you put a half-ass artist on this, I'd be hesitant to believe you guys would talk it up this hard, because I feel like it was patchy. I liked the way everything tied together, but that was about halfway through when all three characters stories kind of wove together. The three main characters. And then that's when I started to really kind of enjoy it. Basically when Nasir's wife cut in and stopped him from getting executed by the weird terrorist guy, but nobody's saying anything. There's I don't know. It felt like a really good movie that was it was book format. It was a great thriller, I was worried about all three characters. It was great. It was great. It was good. It was a great story. I don't know.
I agree that. Okay, so Mitch, funny you say about he did pencils, inks, colors, the whole shebang. Mitch did. He's exceptional, and so yeah, you're right. He brings an exceptional quality to this book, making it. But comics is art and art.
Well, yeah, I shouldn't say if it was with another artist, because it wasn't with another artist. So
yeah, and if it was, if it was, if it was with that guy who drew Captain America with Mark Grunwald, maybe I would be like, fuck, this comic sucks. Like, there's not really much of a marriage of word and picture here, but there is in this instance. Like Tom's very good. He works with exceptional artists, and exceptional artists want to work with him. And that's
fair.
That's a Warren Ellis type skill. Like that's a skill in and of itself. Being able to kind of pick guys out of the crowd and know to work with them. Like this guy was on Punisher prior to this. Did 20 issues of Punisher from 2014 to 2015. I haven't read those yet. I scanned through them. They don't look as good as this. I think Mitch
probably because they're written by, who are they written by?
Oh shit, I don't remember the guy's name, but he too has sort of a military background. He's kind of a legit fellow, but he's not a big name. Probably, I think the fact that I can't remember his name shows how not big he is, because usually I have a memory for things like that, but that guy just does not exist.
Yeah, I think he knew what he was working with. He knew that, like, the potential in this story. And I actually went and looked for some interviews with King and him, and like Tom King was just saying that he would turn over pages and the art would come back even better than, like he would describe something and it would be even better than he imagined. And it was just like, I think when you start working with something like that, you can rely on being a little sparser and just trusting the artist to tell the story. Like it is a very cinematic quality. Like it's exactly like you say, James. The like Nasir is amazing, and like just the way, even the way his hair gets like slicked back or like falls in front of his face, it's like it's picture perfect.
You know who sucks in this book though? The main character.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh
yeah.
What's this guy? What's Chris doing anyway, man? Like, you didn't train anybody.
Yeah,
you're drinking, fraternizing. Really, if anything, there's a little bit of treason. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, he goes a little rogue at the end. They create their own A team by the end.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, like, and I think that's why I never I bought this early on the strength of your recommendation, Chris. But I'm going to say Chris twice here, but I couldn't work with Chris in the beginning of the book, the main character Chris, and I think that's what turned me off of it, because I was like, I'm not interested in this guy. I don't care what he's doing. Following him around is boring. And
he's a piece of shit, and he's not doing anything. The sheriff of Babylon is I can't remember her name either now.
Yeah, Sophia and Nasir.
Sophia is the main character, really, for me. And then Nasir, if anybody's the sheriff of Babylon,
exactly.
is the old fart. I don't know. Maybe that's a joke,
I think this is just sorry. Go. I want to hear from real life, Chris.
I'll push back a little bit. So first of all, I'm sure Chris is a proxy for Tom King in a bit of a way. So you have your Western character providing a window into this world, like step by step, beginning with this murder that's taken place on the American military base. Great first panel, by the way. The guy's destroyed head, like the brains leaking out, and they're just. I think we could go through the first issue and pick it apart like panel by panel if he really wanted to, but like the formalism is fantastic, and I think he's got a really great eye for that, and that like sort of grid like Alan Moore quality, but it's done to good effect. And I think the whole theme of this first issue particularly, well, the whole thing is just that the facade of order, right? Like you have that these two guys are looking at this guy who's like shot, brains leaking out, and it's like, orders are orders. They say you keep the place clean, you clean it. The other guy's like, I'm supposed to pick up garbage. Is this garbage? And it's that technical question. Like it's a farce of order. They want these neat categories, but like everything that's going on in Iraq is just a complete shit show. And like none of the order that they're trying to bring to it is paying off. And I think like the whole point of Chris is that he's going rogue because he's the one guy who's sincere in his belief. The first thing we see him do is try to talk down a suicide bomber in this diner. Like just sort of this friendly, like, the problem with this war, nobody gives out chocolate anymore. Yeah, they used to give people chocolate, like win over the locals, but nobody does that. So he's like sits down and makes himself a sandwich. He's making some progress. and then these guys just burst in and like shoot this poor woman, just like blood all over his face. He's traumatized, and that vision of what he's come to do, this sort of like super cop, negotiator, is just being fucked up constantly by these fuck ups who run this war.
Maybe the problem then is, okay, actually, there's two things I want to say to that regarding, I'll start with the formalism. It occurred to me, I was like, holy shit, the last page of, like, this is so stupid, but the last page of this comic is a mirror image of the first page, and it's like, it begins with this guy, Ali Farahar, shit, I don't remember, I didn't write it down, but he, and then Jim at the end, it's like, and it's the same farce of order too. It's like, I'm saying they got a car that comes for these things now. Great, car.
Yeah, there's their progress. Yeah, they can pick up corpses in a car.
Yeah, between, like, and it starts like February 2004, April 2004, and that's the progress.
1 year after the fall of Baghdad. I love that ending.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And then the second thing is, like, I wonder if what happens with Chris is that he gets kind of drowned out later on, because I don't see him doing anything cool ever again after that. Perhaps I'm mistaken, but I think he, all of a sudden, like, after that moment, he's a total fish out of water, and it becomes the Nasir Safia show, and Chris kind of gets left behind, and which is fine, because I'm quite happy for him to have just guided us to these two more interesting characters and watch them go, because they're kind of like, and I agree with you, like, yeah, he's the step in, but like, he becomes a spectator along with us, and that to an extent, except for when he's drinking with Fatima, which is a nice scene. I do like that. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys. So you guys are in full defense of all this dialogue. I just want to go on the record here. So, like, you don't find that sort of he rehashes the same sort of conversation technique where he's got his great grid panel. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of a back and forth. Nobody's really saying anything. Yes, brother, it's very late. There's a lot of like innuendos and like a subtext to everything everyone's saying, and then it always ends in like sort of a clever wraparound joke.
Or
the dialogue's like an analogy,
like what you just described is about. Very good.
Is it though? Because once I've read that same like kind of clever exchange like 6 times, I'm like, okay, I don't in the same grid panel, I'm like I see what we're doing. I don't know. I don't know.
I think he's still not. I think he's not fully cooked yet. Like this book still isn't as good as I think it is, and I do vouch for the things that you're describing. I think he's got a little bit of Brian Michael Bendis disease. I think he's still working through his Alan Moore influences. I mean, he's still definitely working through, like, even up until now, just really just hammering away at all that shit. But yeah, I what I like about everything, and I don't mind its constant repetition, is because it gives you a sense of the place, like the way that they speak and the innuendo, as you refer to it. That gives you, like, where it's like hearing a sort of a New York slang, and like you were traveling to Iraq, like it has a verisimilitude as a consequence, and so it's, for me, at the very least, it's a very interesting place to visit, and he's being a good guide for us by doing it. Sorry, just killing a bug there.
I guess that kind of makes sense, because you're not people are speaking cautiously, so they're skirting what nobody's speaking directly like they do, like Americans do.
Yeah, because power is always in play. They're always in this sort of like subordinate position in Iraq. I do find, like, James summed up my feelings pretty well on that. I also understand what you're saying, where I think there's like almost like a precociousness to it. Like, it's like, I don't know, like, wow, look what this new kid can do, and kind of showing off, and it probably does fall on some structures that are maybe a little bit TV-ish or something like that. But overall I don't mind it too much, because I like the overall product.
Yeah, and listening, like, okay, so some of these conversations, like when they're talking about Avicenna, and they're talking about God, and it's a nice little moment of he's both humanizing and also giving some sort of like philosophical structure for all of this. He's like, it's chaos. Like everybody's trying to deal with the fact that it's utter fucking chaos, and they're trying to like keep their bearings within that space. And watching them talk through their means of doing so is necessary, because otherwise, like what would happen without all of that stuff? Like what would you really have other than a cops and robbers show? And this is like this kind of has more in common with like True Detective or something.
I think a really good example of where it works is that in the first issue, there's that scene where we're introduced to Sophia, and it's like these four people, like these four like bureaucrats or whatever, are talking to her, and it's this the general comes to her. It's like, oh, we got this protest in the middle of the road. We can't have that. Can you make it happen? She's like, yeah, I understand. I'll take care of it. And it's just kind of going through to this minister, like, well, we have to, it's we had hospital supplies stolen. So she tracks down the next guy, and it's just getting more and more like, down into the gutter, like where the kind of criminal stuff's happening. And the final guy, it's like, well, like the truck's mine. My wife has no food. My children have no food. I'll feed them with the truck. Fuck you. Some American whore is not going to change this. And, she's like, I understand. Pulls a gun out of her purse, and they just like, takes care of the situation, like, like you thought I was asking for the truck. I had the truck. I'm just here to kill you. And then runs it back up the chain, and it gets increasingly sanitized as it goes, like back to the general, like, thank you for your service. And she's like, of course, anything you need. But like you really get that sense of how she moves and operates in this kind of real politic way.
Yeah, which is again sort of lost later in and not I'm not complaining, but she. So once Tom King establishes these individuals as operatives, Nasir shoots some guys, Sophia's doing her thing.
Yeah, like he's got Americans in his basement, and like, yeah, that's what a fucking scene that is. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then once that it's established, though, then they turn into figures on the stage. We don't really we return to some of that, like when Nasir and Chris go into that place where everybody's been murdered and he's trying to kill the cat. I was like, that's fucking weird. But like, I the more I thought about that final page when like, they killed these people, but they didn't think to kill the cat. And I was like, fuck, they're gonna have to kill that cat. Like, who's gonna take care of that goddamn cat? He's eating dead bodies. Like, it's such a, you get to take all of that real politique operativeness of these characters, and then like see that element of them try to express humanity in ways that are often like bloody and terrible and sort of born of this fucking mad place that they're stuck in and have been stuck in for a while. Like, Nasir's background is pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
like working for Saddam and all that stuff, and killing Sophia's family. And I like that about the characters as well. Like, well, at least those two characters, they're so interwoven. And again, like, Chris kind of falls away from all of that. I guess he's in a relationship with Sophia. I guess they sleep together once.
It's got to be his baby that gets miscarried when she gets taken out of the rocket attack. Yeah.
Yes, invite me in, and but Chris doesn't realize, and so he's just like, no, like, you got to talk to Nasir, and she's like, no, I got to tell you about your dead kid.
And there's a great because the place is so fucked up, there's a tension whenever anybody gets privately invited into any place.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, is someone gonna pull a knife? Is someone gonna pull a gun? Is someone get shot in the face? You never quite trust that's not going to happen, and that's established right away too. So that's great. And I agree with all those. Those are great spots you guys just all talked about. But then, like, I'm going to throw an example down the hallway, like a hot dog here, and say the Sophia conversation with Nasir's wife was dumb. It was like the whole like. We're like a child on our knees trying to stand, and a plague comes upon us. We do not have time for this guy, the jihadi terrorist guy.
Right.
And then she's like, we're not children, we're adults, but they do it all in like this like cryptic, cheesy speech. And then that was just sort of like that's when I started getting tired of the formula, I think.
Fair enough. That's like towards the end of the first book. Right?
Yeah, and I was just like, I was like, oh, what? I know, very clever. I don't know.
No, that's fair. It's fair. Sometimes it worked for me. It did work for me at a point when she's like, we're gonna fight back. We're gonna kill these guys. But she's like, not as a child does, not even as a man does, but as a woman does, as a mother does. And
backed up by the fact that Fatima is like hardcore as fuck too. Like,
she's shocking.
Yeah,
the sawed off. Yeah,
they're both murderers, and I just like that as a
bromance. Okay.
Well, yeah. Tom really likes women. Like he genuinely likes women, and he doesn't is the impression I get anyway. I don't know this fucking guy, but he definitely loves love, but he also loves women. He loves tough women. And I think that it comes out very clear, and he presents them. I kind of want to see him write Wonder Woman. But
yeah, I liked Nazir and Chris having a drink when they couldn't sleep.
Yes,
that was all very charming.
They had a good
really liked that bit. I liked Saddam's blown up pool and the little artifact. I just liked every part of that. I was very with Fatima. I was very involved in that conversation and that bit. I like the art in that section as well. It was so like it's not like the book didn't work or that I don't think it was good. Like it's really good. I just don't know if it was like it was just like a bit of a standard thriller that was sort of like showing off that he knows about Iraq. I was like, okay.
No, it's true. It's your classic, like Chuck Dixon, like Larry Hama. I was in the military, and I'm going to show you that I was in the military. Through, I'm going to talk about the LZ, right?
Yeah.
Like it's,
by his own admission too, he talks about I start with the murder, then the process of winding down that murder will take us through the territory and all that. So yeah, definitely I could see where you're coming from there.
Did you guys like Bob?
Bob from Ops.
Oh shit! Sorry, I thought you meant Jim, but yeah, fucking Bob.
Oh god.
Yeah. What I love the fact that the villainy of this story is so corn-fed. It's just so like, because like Bob's just your fucking shitty fucking. You could meet this guy at your workplace, but it's the type of work that they do. It's the banality of evil kind of thing. Like he's, I didn't kill her. I don't know what's going on here. But we had him. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Circular nonsense cowboy and Indian thing.
Yeah. For those following at home who may not know, the he's like this CIA operative. Like we're the guys who nobody talks about. And just he's right at the top of the planning hierarchy. But they bring Nasir in after so Nasir gets to. Like a terrorist kind of comes to his home, this Abu Rahim, or agents of this guy who's the main antagonist throughout this whole thing, and they kind of like, come on brother, let's go pray together. We know a man who prays with us. They're kind of trying to suss him out, figure out where his loyalties lie, and through the process of that is they're kind of starting to trust him, but then Fatima just shows up with a shotgun and just wastes these guys. Which is amazing, and then they got to get hauled in by the Americans as they're hiding out, and Bob is the guy overseeing this. And through the process of this, he ends up he thinks that Fatima has a gun on her, like under her robes. She's in full burqa, and he the Americans fire on her, killing Nasir's wife. This being after his when we first see him, he's taken revenge on these American I guess, soldiers because his daughters have died in a bomb strike. Like that's where he's coming from. That's why he's so beat down. And so his wife dies too, and then they just like start interrogating him and shit. Like, and all the time, Bob's like, yeah, like I didn't shoot her. I had nothing to do with it. Like, looked like she had a gun.
Yeah.
His resistance to the interrogation too, like he shit himself.
Yeah. You think he did that on purpose?
He just keeps going. We're gonna have to clean him up.
Fuck, it's got his shirt. Yeah. That's some Zero Dark 30 shit. I'm always going to be a big fan of that. Artistic portrayals of like extreme fucking torture. Well, I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Then they like dig the grave for him, and it's just like the horrible irony of like, come on, like, isn't there something in this world you want more than his grave? Like, obviously he doesn't, given the fact that he just killed his entire family.
I think also he knows all that stuff because he's done all that stuff. Like, so he was he was part of the security apparatus for Iraq prior to the war, and so like he knows all the fucking tactics, and he's like, you know what, I'll ride this shit out. I know what you guys will do. Like, if you were going to kill me, you would have killed me by now. And like, maybe he would have broke at some point, but broke for what? Like, there's nothing to break, in the sense that he doesn't really have anything to say.
Yeah.
Substantially.
Well, he's just got this kind of wise guy fatalism the whole time too. Like, just, like God's to blame for this. No, God, we praise God for this. It's all the same.
Yeah. But there's such a depth to that, like as a concept, as like a religious concept in that space, like we blame and praise, and it's all the same. And like I think that's one of the reasons little moments like that are why Tom kind of comes to the top of the pack for me, at least currently, because it's not too heavy, like it's not that's just like a little cherry on top. Deal with that for a little, think about that for a little bit, feel that for a little bit, on top of like the basic genre narrative. And that's good, man. That's all, like, fuck, that's the best I can hope for out of a genre writer, right? Like, cause James, you're right. Like, this is an airport thriller in every other respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the right wing,
fair. Yep.
Yeah, insistence that that America is the good guy, because which is I think another such a fantastic thing about this is that, like you're saying, he tries to give depth to, you're always going to have questions about representation when you have an American writing Iraqi characters and trying to say something about Iraq, but he really does try to give fair expression, broaden the context, and make you see that there's like this history of shit happening there, and that every attempt to intervene just ends up adding to the pile of shit.
Yeah, if you wanted to be like one of those like guys, they're always or people who are always looking for Orientalism and applying it as a pejorative. You're gonna find it. You'll find something. Oh, we didn't do this, but like that, it doesn't not set off my alarms at all. Like everything.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, and again, I don't know my Shia from my Sunni. Like I really don't. Not in a way that I ought to really like think about that region of the world and that particular conflict. Not to mention everything else about that conflict. But it all comes off well in the way, like, I just don't feel that anyone's like being presented as a caricature or a symbol or something.
Even when like in the third issue, Christopher is encountering this wall of silence as they try to investigate this, the guy who got shot, and it's kind of like the frustration of like, don't you people care like that one of your own is murdered? But as he talks to this guy, he's like, they just don't want to be involved in this trouble, so they don't answer some questions. Not answering is not lying. This is telling the truth. It's like, nothing, they don't want to, there's no good that's going to come if you're between a terrorist organization and the American military.
Yeah. Although, okay, well, here's one thing. The joke is that, and again, like this is the formalism, and again, it's only been 4 months, but you open up, Chris is trying to teach the Iraqi police force
Right.
And they fucking suck. And then like the only thing that changes at the end is that Nasir's involved, and he's like, they don't get any better. And he's like, I know. Like, they're just fucking incompetent Iraqis. And that's really the only thing I could point to, and it would bug me more if I understood that there wasn't some truth to that. That efforts to develop a police force in Iraq were comically
exactly.
Yeah.
It's based in the reality of that, and I don't know, like maybe you just round up a bunch of dudes. Maybe there's just like a lack of motivation. I don't know. It's hard to. I'm not even going to try to psychologize that, but yeah, it's exactly what you say. It is grounded in actual events.
Yeah, or at least like our perceived events, But yes, it doesn't feel wildly wrong. Yeah, James.
Yeah, I didn't. I feel that too. Like I didn't feel like any side was like misrepresented. The Americans always feel sort of sloppy and warmongery, and then you usually get a pretty stark painting of Iraq when you get these kind of stories in a movie or whatever. But in this case, it was like you were told, oh, they 10 or 13 Iraqis died and 2 American soldiers, and it was they pointed that out at one point.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and then you get to think about like Nazir's family, like his kids being killed, and you know what I mean? Like they saw heavy casualties and had every reason to hate and feel like they were being infiltrated in a way that wasn't right, and they had parties on all sides with a vested interest in trying to push their way into the region, and it was just it was messy and a maybe a nicer and more fair explanation than most people give when they try and tell that story through the old North American lens,
Yeah. And I think Tom points to that when those assholes take Nasir out into the desert and they're like, I got the new season of 24.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland's such a weird actor. And I was like, that's a nice touch. That's a nice little meta moment there. Yeah. We got anything else?
I guess we should talk about the like Abu Rahim and like the
oh shit
finale. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. What do you got?
What do I got? Interesting villain. Just very much a contrast in he's very evasive and shifty, and like even as he stands there talking to them about everything that he's done and his grand ideas about taking back from the Americans. You just really don't. I didn't feel like I understood where he stood necessarily. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys felt that.
Yeah, like when he fell apart as not the mastermind, as someone who was just like also smoke and mirrors and all of this, and really all that happens is just like Sophia just like fucking gets pissed at him, and then special forces come in. It fit well. I did, like would it have been better if he was Snidely Whiplash? I don't think so. It's actually kind of a little more interesting that he's pathetic and came in and he's like lost everyone and he's just trying to like bluff his way to some sort of thing, and then he gets shot down like a fucking dog.
They arranged this meeting to sit down and kind of like plumb the depths of his organization, but he just kind of comes in with this a bomb jacket on, like here I am ready to talk, and as if he's testing them. And it's kind of cowardice. Like, I mean, what she realizes is his essential cowardness and vanity, right? And she's like, this guy's not going to kill himself. Like, come on in.
No, and she plays a game of fucking chicken with him in that moment, and she's so fucking badass. She's like, press your button, and they're like, and Nasir the whole time as the special forces guys are coming, and she's like, we need to sit. Like, I know how these guys operate. If we get into a certain position, we're not going to be viewed as targets, and we're going to survive this, and we need to do this right now. And one very nice touch, that takes like some insider knowledge to be able to express that in a way like he never says that. You're left to infer it, and that's like, again, verisimilitude. But then, then we also get a little bit of like the jihadist suicide bomber, exploration of all of that, and like she's that sort of macho bullshit that comes with it, and and are you ready for paradise? And, what is this? And she just like looks at him. She's like, she's ready to fucking go, and Nasir is ready to go. And that's kind of what separates the men from the men and the women from the boys in this.
Yeah. And he kind of comes in talking like a cowboy, right? Like, I'm the revolutionary. I'm George Washington.
Yes.
She just puts him in his place. Like, yeah, she's like, I have leveled the American military at my enemies. Like, you think you're George Washington? I am shock and awe. And he just kind of like, he's like, hey, I'm Abu Rahim, a warrior of God. I'm ready to serve you. Like, I want in on this.
Yeah. So yeah, fucking dope. There's talk of a season 2 that's already been written in the interviews, but Mitch hasn't had time for it. But I think Mitch has had plenty of time for it. I think everybody's making money right now, and no one wants to come back to this thing that got like shut down. It's a shame. I would like to see a little bit more of this. I want to come back to Nasir and Sophia. And
did it get shut down?
Well, it's 12 issues, and it was 2017, and it's 2022 now, so.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And then I guess you're popular, and everybody's like, now write X-Men.
Mm-hmm. This has a bit of a feel of a Mark Millar project, though, where it does wrap up. It's got perfect symmetry, beginning end. Yeah. You could leave it right there, and then you could just pick it up again if you wanted to.
Well, and Tom's very good at that. Like Vision, same thing. Like when it ended, it also could have been a beginning. I think this is much better than that in terms of symmetry. Yeah, we could kick into another adventure pretty easily. I don't know what the precipitating event would be. I trust
investigating the murder of Jim from Office, perhaps. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that ending?
Oh, I honestly, it did seem pointless for the point of being pointless. He's like, I'm just here, but at the other hand, I was like, first, I loved Jim. When Jim showed up, I was smitten. I was like, what a beauty. What an American classic. And then to get the twist that like he's a fake. He's like, I'm just a computer guy. They just needed someone to be a gray hair. I loved that. But the fact that they killed him, I didn't care for it. It struck me as something that would be required for the symmetry of the story and nothing more. And yeah, I think that's what I felt. But fuck Jim.
Yeah, I think I really liked it. I think the beautiful touch on that is the ambiguity, because you never know. He could just be a CIA guy saying that he's a computer guy, Yeah, he could be lying.
I don't know. Jim seemed pretty. James, did you think he was lying?
Yeah, no, I'm not 100% on that.
Well, you wouldn't be. You lied, right? Fuck, man, I don't know.
I think it's pretty likely. I mean, even like you get Nasir saying, I believe you, but you're here right now, and then just waste them. And it's really like, it really does take it into some like strange moral territory. And Chris, like, I think you guys kind of said Chris's resolution is kind of without purpose, but I think the fact that he offers him chocolate, he sits down at the diner, gives him that square of chocolate, and that's showing right there that like they're not part of the same team. They're not even part of the same species anymore, because chocolate was what you offered people who are not in your space. You're trying to win them over or whatever, but you're not on the same playing field. So yeah, it's like
I see. So he's
offering an enemy.
Yeah, well, or to the savage. Do you want the candy bar thing that I want to manipulate? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That didn't occur to me. You know, still though, like is it didn't. Yeah, okay. It didn't strike out me. It didn't. It didn't occur. That didn't occur to me. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't think actually I have a follow-up thought to that, or maybe I do, but I just need to kind of chew it over for a little bit. I do. I think no. Wait. There we go. It does still feel like it's at the service of the symmetry of the story, uh, which Tom is desperate to achieve in his like in his like again getting back to Alan Moore and Watchmen. Fuck this dude up. This dude's fucked up on Watchmen and hasn't stopped, and he's not going to stop. I don't know when he will, but he certainly hasn't at this point. And this is it. You know, he's trying to create that clockwork thing and make it clever at the same time. And I think he's good at that. I think what you just pointed out is a really good observation that clearly I missed. But it just feels like it's happening for the sake of happening, and it doesn't flow naturally from the story. It's kind of it's an epilogue, and it's not the worst thing in the world. Like I guess that's my response. Is
Yeah,
that's like really cool, but not the worst thing in the world.
it satisfies Nasir's arc, but it's very problematic for Chris. I would definitely agree to that.
Yeah.
The fact that they cold-blooded murder this, American operative.
Yeah.
But like you guys say, Chris kind of got kind of left by the wayside, and then ended up sort of just being like a Mortimer, like a well, he was just sort of along for the ride, right? Because they established the sort of three amigos thing, and then they strengthened the other two stories as they went, and his just kind of tapered off, where it was like he basically went rogue.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's even, who knows if that's how it was planned, but maybe that's the sort of thing that just kind of develops as he goes. I guess Chris does get some moments too. He almost kills Bob, when they're watching the thing go down, with the Abu Rahim, because like their team is sort of doing the intel, like waiting for them to give the word to move in, and at the same time that Abu Rahim is they're having a conversation about like, is America God and all that. You got this guy's just taking credit being basically the first mover of all this shit. Like I set this up. I did it all. He's the guy who killed the operative. Like the murder that starts, and he does it. I love this, like just the ambiguity, because that guy's tip led them to kill some innocent people, like some Christians in Iraq, and then basically Bob kills him by just paying him in public, or just like being seen in public with him, right? And It's just like, that's the death, the kiss of death. So Chris pulls, he's standing right behind him, has the gun drawn, he's about to do it right there.
Yeah, and I'm trying to two things in that. Like, when does Chris first grab his gun? Like, he interacts with Bob real early on, and almost immediately pulls that's right. Ali Al-Fahar. Yeah, I did that. And he like reaches in.
And then he literally pulls his Glock.
Yeah. And then it just continues on for 30, 40 pages. Like, I wonder what this would have been like to read on a monthly basis. I bet it wouldn't have been as enjoyable. I might be wrong, obviously, but there's a tension that is sustained extremely well over the trade paperback that I don't know if it would have maintained over a 30-day period or a 60-day period. But still, though, playing the long game.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to comment was when that scene when he pays him, and so Mitch Gerads and Tom King in this story, like, they know when to and are able to pull back for the big shot, and they make every big shot meaningful. It never feels like a Brian Hitch or George Perez. We're gonna pull out for the big shot so that way we can make something, just show a bunch of stuff, show our ability to fill the page. It's like, no, we're gonna pull out. It's gonna be kind of blank, it's gonna have an emotional resonance. It's gonna mean something for the story, and there's barely gonna be any words. It's gonna be like a poster, and yeah, and it'll do what the story requires, and I love that. I think that's in combination with the constant grid. Like everything's hemmed in and everything's stuck within the grid. You never escape the grid, and so these open moments really feel revelatory. Like there's a lot of information to be taken from those images in a way that King and Gerard control up until that moment, and again, that's an Alan Moore Watchmen-y thing that that King has obviously ingested and made a part of his being.
And you're talking about that shot where it's like he's this guy, the guy who's murdered, is standing in the middle of the street, and just like all these people are just kind of like slowly circling him.
Yeah, like fucking zombies.
Yeah. We
also,
let the wolves do what the wolves do.
Yeah, but then the Christians, the green image, like there's a lot of them. There's probably a little more than maybe you'd think, because everything feels so in. But like when her car is shot with that rocket,
that looks great too.
It's 4 images, of course, but like amazing action, so kinetic, so like this guy's a gem.
That kind of blur effect that they do, like when things are happening really fast, like it's fog of war kind of thing.
Yeah. And even Tom and Gerard, when they're working together, they're able to do that television staticky thing. Like when the TV goes all schizo, they use that a lot. You get a lot of that in Strange Adventures, and you get it in Mr. Miracle like a fucking ton, or Strange Adventure. It's a technique that you don't often see because most people can't control their own coloring, I think. And so it's actually, to my eye, really hard to pull off, and unless the person's in control of the entire apparatus. And so it's a real outer limits. We control the horizontal and the vertical kind of experience. So this book fucking sucked. Well, like we were saying, I don't know. Are we ready to go to Guilty or Innocent on this one?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. Do you want to kick us off there, James? The guilty sheriff of Babylon. Should he take us in?
You know what? Yeah, he's good to go. He's good to go. This is great.
Yeah.
I have some. Yeah, I cried a little bit about a couple things, but I mean, like, I'm being finicky. 75% of what we read is way worse than this.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
maybe not 85.
Yeah. Chris, guilty or innocent?
Innocent Sheriff of Babylon is a straight up super cop, correcting all wrongs, source of all justice. I say, everyone should bow down.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say, I'll just guilty of war crimes. And Tom King, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a goddamn monster. And I can see how much of Tom's career seems to be like, or at least early career, was him trying to like atone for his behavior. And even though he's only there for like 6 months in Iraq, clearly I feel that it really fucked him up. And good for you for getting out, but you're still guilty, and you're going to The Hague, bro. Another thing, in the alternate, should it be determined that this book is in fact not culpable, which that never happens. I want to say that, as we haven't talked about this, great fucking covers by Jean-Paul Leon. That's another thing. Like, this thing's total package. So I guess it's guilty of being the total package, is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Yeah. We welcome your verdict.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.